Hi, everyone, and welcome to our keynote session, The Importance of Real-Time Data in Fighting Cyber Attacks. My name is Ami, and I'm the country manager at Aerospike Israel, and I'm super excited to introduce you to our customer, Cybereason. Today, we have here with us Lior Mosel, who is the SVP Engineering, together with Eviatar Tene, who is the Data Platform Manager, and both are from the Cybereason R&D Center in Tel Aviv. We're excited to work with the Cybereason team since 2018 and to have Lior and Eviatar here with us today. So please, without further ado, I will hand it over to Lior to kickstart the keynote session. Thank you very much, Lior and Eviatar, and enjoy the session.
Thank you, Ami, and good morning, everybody. So this session is about the importance of real-time data for fighting cyber attacks. When we are defending our customers, it poses some very unique challenges, both in scale and velocity. I will walk you through our approach to defending our customers and show how we are utilizing the Aerospike technology in order to solve some of those challenges. Let's click the next one. So a trivial question: why do we care about cyber attacks? So clearly, first thing, there's the net dollar thing. It costs money to be in breach, and I will show you soon the numbers behind that. Another thing is about brand. So brand is both about personal brand. Security teams and management teams are looking on them being hacked almost as like a personal insult. On top of it, there's clearly also the impact on the brand itself, on the organization, on the brand of the organization. There are additional implications, bad implications for cyber hacks. It can also break relationships. So Ashley Madison was a site, a dating site for married people that are looking to having an affair. In 2015, the site was hacked and 33 million accounts were leaked. It was a very, very fruitful year for the divorce lawyers. Cyber hacks can even be a life threat. So in 2018, Cybereason detected the nation-state soft cell attack. In this attack, what we saw is that specific nation was able to get the exact location of very specific individuals. We detected it, and then we warned the relevant authorities, and the severe impact was prevented. So let's now move to the more technical part of that. What we actually seeing is that society is relying on technology, and there are more connected devices than human beings. Again, there are more connected devices than human beings. And with that, it means that it is driving a growing attack surface. And for hackers, everything that has processing power is hackable. And in the old world that was less connected, the common approach for cyber was, let's protect each and every endpoint by its own. But what we see today is that attacks are spreading across multiple devices. It can be laptops, desktop, servers. It can be cloud services, cloud applications, firewall, network devices, and more and more and more. And with this new world, we must adopt a new mindset. In order to end cyber attacks, we must protect it all and go from the endpoint to everywhere. So why are we here? A couple of sentences on our mission. Cybereason is focused on the defenders. And we believe that we can reverse the adversary advantage by empowering defenders with ingenuity and technology to end cyber attacks. Let's click to the next slide and see a few data points. So we see 67% growth in security breaches over the past 5 years. The average cost of a data breach is north of $150 million. Every 11 seconds, an organization will fall victim to ransomware. And on top of everything, there are 3.5 million open positions in the cyber industry, looking for cybersecurity talents. So it all boils down to attackers are winning. We have more threats across more devices, resulting in more breaches that are more costly, and we don't have the right talent in the workforce. If we take it forward, let's click to the next one. Today's security tools are alert-centric. What does it mean? The tools are triggering an alert on each and every suspicious behavior. This in turn is flooding the security teams, and it makes them rely on more and more people. And all those alerts require manual investigations. And as we know across the industry, everything that is manual is both error-prone and also it's hard to scale it. And on top of everything, the attackers themselves, they understand this limitation of the tool. And when they are playing a full-scale operation, they are actually generating more alerts. And then within all the noise, they can hide while they are stealing the data. We are looking on the defender's effectivity, and thus we have an operation-centric approach that allows the defenders to focus only on what matters most. So let's click and see how this works. So what is operation-centric security? So basically, it's a layered approach. Initially, we have on the left side, we have the endpoint prevention stack, which is protecting or eliminating the known attacks and cleaning the noise of that. Then we take the metadata of those attacks, plus many more data points we are collecting, and we are sending it all to our detection engine. And our detection engine is now in near real time, without any manual intervention, running correlations in order to find the handful of malicious operations. We call those mallops. So instead of thousands of alerts and billions of events, we get a handful of mallops. And let's click and see how does this look. So this is how mallop looks in our UI. Again, mallop is malicious operation, and basically instead of seeing thousands of alerts, you get very few of those. And the way to identify those and present it with all the scope is done completely automatically with our detection engine. And the mallop has the full context to allow the efficiency of the security teams. When they see such alert, the mallop alert, they can see the root cause, they can see the tools that are being leveraged as part of this attack, which are the affected machines, the affected users, the affected communication channels, the attacker communication channel, meaning how the attacker or the adversary are connecting remotely to the organization and being able to make the negative impact. And below everything, you can see the full timeline, so they can respond and do the remediation. And you can see on the top right side of the screen the blue button, respond, which allow the multiple remediation options according to the data they have. So let's click to the next one. In this forum, I think it's very obvious that scale matters, and there are two sides of the house. One of them is for the users, and user scale, as said before, it's very hard for human beings to process and look on thousands of alerts. So by calculating and detecting and presenting to the users only a handful of mallops, of malicious operations, we allow them to scale regarding the size of the team. But now in the underlying thing, there's the technology. In the technology layer, we need to take massive amounts of data and actually consolidate those into few meaningful alerts. And for that, we need very, very strong processing power. The processing power that will allow us taking 9.8 petabytes a week. So with that, let's click forward and we will get a bit more technical. So this is a very high-level architecture design of our platform. On the left side, it's the endpoint layer. again, millions of endpoints that we are protecting. The way attackers are using exploit on endpoint is very intrusive, low-level technology. And for us, in order for us to be able to detect and impact it, what we need is to collect very granular data. And granular, when we are talking about scale, means a lot. So we are collecting a lot of data points on each and every endpoint. And as I said at the beginning, there are more connected devices than human beings. So it means that the matrix is huge. And this entire matrix is moving to our detection engine that has to cope with this volume of data. And as said, we need in real time to show the defenders that there is a malicious activity on the way, so they can respond in a timely manner. Let's click the next one. So it's not only about the endpoint. Endpoint is part of the data, but on top of that, the way our platform is built is that we are looking also on the contextual data from the entire environment, meaning we can collect data from network devices, from firewalls, from the public cloud providers, both on applications, on the infrastructure, and on services. This is like a comparison to the internet giants. So you can see that the amounts of data are really significant. Let's click again. Okay, this is more linear model of how we are modeling the different layers. So basically, our initial layer is we are taking events and we are translating those into IOCs, indication of compromise. And then from there, we have evidences, suspicions, and mallops, where mallops are very few. This is a logical representation of our engine. Let's move to the next one, because it all boils down to the user interface. In the user interface, we are allowing a very intuitive interface that can allow turning beginner analysts into hunters, because by giving them this the entire context of the data, and by doing the transformation of the data in real time, we get them the ability to do the investigations in a very simple manner. So we give them here the full timeline view. We allow them to build queries in a syntax-free user interface. The retention here is a key. We allow keeping data for as much as you want, so you can look back and see when an attack started. And all of that is happening in real time, because in cybersecurity, timing clearly has a huge impact on the ability of the adversaries to make the damage. With that, I will move it to Eviatar, who will take you into the technical details.
Thanks, Leo. Hi, guys. My name is Eviatar. I am Cyber Reason Data Platform Director. I will walk you through the Cyber Reason Aerospike journey that is still happening and still have lots of episodes to complete. So very cool. Thanks, Leo, for the intro. So why do you need the Cyber Reason data platform? Why do you need real-time engine? Why do you need Aerospike for us? So first of all, motivation for the motivation. We are handling sheer amount of volume of data. We are segmenting the data according to the security vulnerability. How do we see that? How do we label it? Is it related to a malloc or malicious activity, suspicious data, or just ordinary data? And also, we need to do cross-machine correlation. We need to do correlation between data points. It's not just an ordinary time series data, immutable data. So we have more complex data model to handle. So that's again, before we start talking about the business, let's say the mission. So thinking about two main business needs in terms of Cyber Reason data platform. So first of all, okay, we have the very cool, important, powerful detection platform to get this amount of data, to segment it, whether it's malicious activity or not. But we need to provide the security analytics, the tools to investigate it, to look back into the data, to apply the triaging, to look what happened on this security attack. and we need to provide it in low latency, high throughput, again, thousands of malicious activities each day. Back to threat hunting. On the one hand side, we had the ability, and we'll provide the tools to look back on the events that we labeled as malicious activity, but we would like to provide the SOC analyst also the tools and the capabilities to do proactively threat hunting, to apply some business logic, machine learning models on top of this huge amount of data. And I'm referring again to terabyte of data for long retention, which can last for months and years, in low latency of queries. So this is the threat hunting. This is the key activity for the SOC analyst, security analyst. In terms of model architecture, as our business grows, the data is growing, and we need the capabilities and the technology that will allow us to scale in terms of volume, in terms of enrich the data, and to provide our customers and also internal security analysts the tools to handle this amount of data with lots of new capabilities. So this is the background. Let's now dwell into Cybereason data platform architecture. So we're collecting this amount of data from several customers. The data is being streamed into Cybereason using Kafka. We have dedicated Kafka, encrypted Kafka topic for each customer. Aerospike is our key real-time data engine that collects the data, crunch the data, applying the cross-machine correlation. Again, and I will discuss about the numbers in the later slides, but we're referring to very low latency, high throughput of data, while applying very complex capabilities of Aerospike. Elasticsearch is our BI engine to search the data, apply some long retention queries on top of that, and we do have the Kubernetes cluster to do the data crunching, to do the data processing, data pipeline, to manage the cluster, and also to apply and to handle all the API and the data services capabilities. This is our data platform. Let's talk a little bit about numbers. For the Aerospike real-time engine, in terms of throughput, we are handling today more than 2 million events per second with low latency, which come into less than 30 milliseconds for 1K bulks. All of our operation in terms of insert and reads are in bulk, in 1K bulks, or even more than that, growing and scale. Each 6 months, we are multiplying ourselves by 2.5. So with that comes the need for technology that will allow us to scale to edge servers when you feel comfortable and you can sleep at night because of the ability to easily scale. And unique data, again, only for the real-time engine, 40 terabyte unique data to do the cross-machine correlation, to handle the data. And with that, Aerospike was by far the most prominent vendor for these needs. Dwelling into the Aerospike key functionality, what we are doing with Aerospike, what are the key abilities that we are utilizing in Aerospike for our needs. So first of all, scale. Scale is very important for the business, in terms of business impact. Low latency, the ability to add more and more data. Again, it's not only the data, it's also the complexity of the data, cross-machine correlations. We're adding more data points, more data models, more data types. As the time goes by, the cybersecurity attacks are more complex, so we need to do very complex calculation on top of this data to prevent from security threats to happen. Also, scale is also about the ability to capacity planning. As we grow, we need easily to understand what's the limitation of our infrastructure and how we can handle it prosperously. Performance. It's not only about low latency, it's about the predictable return on investment, such that we are working together with the Aerospike team to understand, okay, with this hardware, we'll get this performance, what's the return on investment, what's the cost, and we are planning and building our infrastructure such that A, that will be economy friendly in terms of cost, and B, the queries and the latency of the data updates, and so on will be according to our needs. Simplicity. I'm referring to the operational ease of use, such that how easily we are maintaining the cluster, understanding what is at risk and what is not risk. And again, we have dozens of these clusters. It's also about dev supportability, how we enhance Aerospike key features for our need and new functionality, which is getting more and more advanced. And back to the advanced feature. So the key feature that we're using and keep enhancing is retention management, smart scanning, which was very powerful and was added recently, complex data type. Also, in terms of business need for complex calculation, and also with regard to low latency for queries, such that how we utilize the data model to get the most out of it. And again, this is a small list, and there are more than that, connectors, which we are leveraging to do the complex data pipeline. And least and not last, the vendor partnership. We're working very closely with Aerospike TAM and the entire business unit, and we are doing with them troubleshooting, production, designing, and planning. What will be next? What will be the priority? How we can leverage from the infrastructure based off the business needs and the cost for our own needs. So this is about the key features that we are using. Leo?
Yeah. So first, I would like to thank you, for inviting us to this session, to this summit, and I would also like to thank you, for the business partnership, because on top of everything, over the past 4 years, our needs changed, and our models changed in the way we are interacting with our customers, and Ami, the Israeli team, but all the way to the executive team of Aerospike, we are very open to hear our business needs, how we interact with our customers, and offer us solutions that made it work. So thank you all.
Wow. Thank you very, very much, Lior and Evyatar, for a super interesting presentation. I really, really loved it, and I'm sure that our audience loved it as well. It's really great to have you as our customer, and thank you very much for that. Let us now spend a few minutes, please, together for a quick Q&A. So first question, what was your motivation originally migrating to Aerospike 3 years ago?
Hi, Ami, thanks for joining us. So comparing to the other vendors in the field, we've seen in Aerospike by far the best result in terms of throughput, scale, and latency for our needs, and that's proved itself significantly.
Thanks. Another question that we got, with everything that is going on in the last year thanks to COVID, how do you see the future challenges in your world of data?
Sure, I'll take this one. So what we actually see with COVID is that the workforce is moving to work remotely. People are working from home. And with that, the significance of the defense on the perimeter of the organization is dissolving. So organizations are relying more and more on the endpoints, and we see more traction, to buying endpoint security solutions. And more than that, we see an increasing demand for integrations, for additional data points from within the organization, a consolidation of the entire security stack that used to be on the perimeter into the endpoint. So with that, we need higher velocity and bigger scale.
Great. Another question, I think this is more technically. So how often do you scale and apply configuration changes and version upgrades?
I'll take that. So in terms of configuration and scaling, every couple of days, literally, it depends on the time, but recently, really, every couple of days, and I mentioned earlier, in the last few months, we doubled ourselves like a few times. In terms of version upgrades, it happens every couple of months, and I would like to do that more frequently, that's for sure.
Thank you. Okay, guys, I think our time is about to end. It was really great to have you here with us today. If there are any other questions, then we will probably take them offline. So thanks a lot, everyone. And thank you again, Cybereason. Thank you, Leo. Thank you, Evyatar. And take care, everyone. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting us. And by the way, our engineering organization is in Tel Aviv, and we are hiring. And again, thank you everybody for the cooperation.
Great, thank you. Thanks a lot.